Tonight, a tinny swallowed as rivers rage in the outback while calls grow for another flood buyback scheme for Bray Park.
Police under siege in Carina, raising serious questions about the PA's mental health unit.
The nation's biggest lenders under pressure to cut mortgage rates now and not wait for the Reserve Bank.
Busted, hiding in the roof, police swoop on juvenile offenders from Brisbane to Townsville.
They're biting and booming. Spraying for mozzies underway. We show you where they're breeding.
He crawled in for free toys but couldn't get back out. How police rescued this Bayside adventurer. And
Powerball's record jackpot. Hear what it's like to get the winning call.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. Flood-weary residents of Bray Park are pleading with the state government to buy back their high-risk homes.
They fear it's the only way they'll be able to leave the suburb.
It's been a rough start to life for baby Anthony.
Stressful.
Born a week ago, he arrived home the night before his Bray Park house was flooded. The newborn, now sleeping outside, Mum Michelle needs to get them out.
Everything's wet and now it's starting to go mouldy. Just got to get everything out and keep this one safe.
The saturated suburb in full swing of recovery. Trucks rapidly filling with former contents of flooded homes. For most in the area, their second time in 2 years, and for some, they're determined this will be the last, hoping the government will buy back their flood-prone properties.
If the offer was good, yeah, sort of like a market value offer.
The concern is the government could be the only future buyers.
I mean, who's going to want to buy a house that's flooded twice?
Some are set on staying. Cassie's bottom floor of her renovated home will need to be torn up.
We've squeegeed what we can.
But this is home.
We live here, we've got memories here, we've put so much hard work into everything.
The Premier shutting down any plans to acquire the high-risk homes.
We don't currently have funding allocated for further buybacks. Those houses could be made more resilient.
Even if the government did commit to buying these properties, the owners know in reality, with the tough real estate market, the chances of securing a new home are very slim.
Now, it's pretty hard to get into anything. We'd have to be low set and somewhere else.
So for now, all they can do is clean. From Bray Park to Beachmere, where the last of the floodwater lingers. Monty's Marina is no stranger to floods, but the power of this one means the recovery will take time.
Take a couple of weeks, easy, probably a month all up, but yeah. We'll be back to work tomorrow.
Working hard to get back to business. Joel Dry, 7 News.
Terrifying video has captured the moment two men in a tinny were swallowed by raging floodwaters in the state's north. Jordan Bissell, they were crossing the river at Cloncurry.
That's right, Max. It's incredible the men escaped from this alive and uninjured. This video shows them paddling the tiny boat alongside trees before it's quickly swept downstream. A churning current engulfs the boat and its passengers in the murky floodwaters.
Oh no, they're gone.
As ex-tropical cyclone Kirrily moves west, this time-lapse shows a rail line at McKinnon's Creek covered by fast-rising floodwaters. Another 1,000 millimetres of rain is expected to lash isolated parts of the state in the coming days.
Jordan Bissell with that report. To Paul Burt now. Bertie, blue skies today. Will the weather hold for the weekend?
Yeah, absolutely there, Max. We're going to see some pretty good conditions starting to move in across the southeast after midnight tonight. Have a look at the chart so you can see a high pressure system really starting to take form tomorrow into Saturday and Sunday. It'll hold through till Monday, then some showers forecast for early next week. But temperatures today, everyone, absolutely stunning there. 29 the average coastal, still about 26 here at Burleigh Heads at the moment, 31 in the city and Ipswich and 32 degrees for Greenbank. I'll be back a little bit later with more on that fantastic weather just around the corner.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Bertie. Police have come under siege as an armed man smashed his way into their station in Carina. There are now serious questions around the PA Hospital's decision to release him after a mental health assessment.
5 a.m, Carina Police Station, the front doors vandalised, smashed in by an armed man, and it didn't stop there.
He was in some public spaces nearby the police station with that knife.
Including a busy intersection at Creek Road before officers swooped. That's when they made another discovery.
What we do know is that man was subject to involvement with our officers on Tuesday night.
That was a 12-hour police siege at this house nearby on Dickinson Street that went on through the night before the man was taken to the Princess Alexandra Hospital for a mental health assessment on Wednesday morning.
As a result of that assessment, he was released back into the community.
That decision defended by Health Minister Shannon Fentiman.
Our very senior mental health clinicians are very experienced. They have significant criteria that they work with.
The mental health is challenging. Certainly at that time we have the ability to be able to view our concerns and to air those concerns.
Police say no one was physically injured during the incident this morning and the man remains in custody.
There's very serious high criteria to keep someone in involuntarily. That Queensland has some of the best response times for dealing with people presenting to an ED with mental health challenges.
But some of the worst wait times for ambulances as a new Productivity Commission report shines the spotlight back on the state's struggling health system.
We have the worst ambulance ramping in the country at 43%. We have seen patients dying in their driveways waiting for an ambulance.
And the Health Minister has defended the data, saying despite being busier, that 000 calls are being responded to faster, although Queenslanders are waiting longer for ambulances. The data has said today that ambulance wait times are now above 25 minutes, almost 9 minutes or 36% longer compared to 10 years ago. There were more than 1 million call-outs last financial year and more than 500,000 Code 1 emergencies. Last year, Queensland man Wayne Irving died while ramped in an ambulance at Ipswich Hospital. His family still waiting for answers, while Brisbane mother Kath Groom passed away last November after waiting more than 1.5 hours at hospital. Certainly a pressing issue that needs more attention, particularly coming up to an election.
Rachel Baxter there at State Parliament, thank you. On the back of better than expected inflation figures, our Premier is urging the big banks to start cutting interest rates even before the Reserve Bank moves. Mortgage holders could be saving hundreds of dollars a month with just a couple of reductions.
Celebrating Medicare's 40th birthday. As celebrations over yesterday's inflation nosedive turn to questions about when interest rates should fall too.
The Reserve Bank of Australia, an independent body, and the government doesn't direct them.
Though he'd earlier revealed his preference.
I, of course, would like to see cuts to interest rates.
Economists are now predicting 2 and possibly 3 rate cuts this year. On a $600,000 mortgage, 2 25 basis point cuts would save $200 a month. The Queensland Premier sticking his neck out, demanding the Reserve Bank cut soon and the retail banks do it now.
There is no rule that says the banks can't cut rates in advance of the RBA.
The 1.3% fall in inflation to 4.1 spurred the stock market to a record high, falling back today, but still good news for self-funded retirees.
My super depends on that, so it's very good.
Our share portfolio has been going down like everyone else's, so very pleased.
But the effects of 13 interest rate rises are still being felt, particularly in retail, with consumer confidence at a record low. Even cut-price retailers like Circonomy, selling refurbished furniture, clothes and household goods, are noticing the change in consumer behaviour.
They're really trying to ensure that the dollar is going further and they're spending a lot more time shopping around.
The retailers' wish from next week's Reserve Bank meeting?
Return some love during that Valentine's period and actually cut interest rates.
Wanting the cash registers to start singing again. And with the reworked Stage 3 tax cuts going before Parliament next week, I can reveal that the Coalition is likely not to vote against them, not wanting to stand in the way of cost of living relief for Middle Australia and effectively dealing the Greens out, ensuring they can't leverage their casting votes to force even more changes. Shadow ministers are promising, though, to launch a full frontal attack on Anthony Albanese over his broken promise, and I'm told the Coalition will announce its formal position after its party room meeting early next week. Max?
Mark Riley in Canberra. 58 children have been arrested in the latest youth crime blitz by Task Force Guardian. The group launched coordinated operations in Brisbane South, Townsville and Cairns over the past 2 weeks. This 12-year-old boy was wanted for stealing a car. He was found hiding in a roof cavity.
The Guardian numbers since May last year are significant. 826 young people on 2,697 charges. But once again, more importantly, 351 diverted.
Police say the next stop for the task force will be southern parts of the state.
A tradesman has been seriously injured after falling several metres at a construction site in Coolangatta this morning. It's believed the man in his 60s was knocked over a railing by a concrete pump hose. A crane was used to pull him out of a pit.
Certainly presented quite challenging. It's certainly something that I haven't dealt with before, but with the expertise of Queensland Emergency Services, we were able to extricate him safely.
The man suffered significant head injuries. Workplace Health and Safety is investigating. A former teacher at Mount Maria College has been jailed over an extensive and disturbing catalogue of child exploitation material. Rosanna King's son Lucas John Gill also groomed a 13-year-old girl.
Yes, he posed as a 16-year-old boy on the social media website Snapchat and encouraged the young girl to send him videos of her doing sexually explicit acts. He then recorded them using a mobile phone so she wouldn't know he was doing it. Gill also used images he'd taken of students as props in stories exploiting children. When police caught up with him, he was in possession of a chilling catalogue of 100,000 images and 24 hours of video footage. The 43-year-old pleaded guilty to 8 counts in court today and was sentenced to 3.5 years jail, which will be suspended after he served 18 months in custody.
Rosanna Kingson with that report. The Premier has rehired Anastasia Palaszczuk's top bureaucrat to lead a review into the state's homelessness services.
Rachel Hunter was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to resign just weeks ago and will now do the work for free.
A sector on life support getting a $390 million lifeline. Homelessness support services set to receive a 20% funding increase for 18 months.
This money gives us hope that the absolutely dire situation we're currently confronting will not continue indefinitely.
To help, the Premier has rehired Anastasia Palaszczuk's Director-General Rachel Hunter to lead a review into the system. Her appointment comes just a month after she was paid almost $400,000 to resign.
I contacted Rachel when I learned that there hadn't yet been an agreement on how much she would be paid to do that review. She immediately offered to do it pro bono.
Admitting the decision for Hunter to work for free in her public service encore was made after questions from journalists.
If you're bringing in a fresh set of eyes, there have to be a fresh set of eyes.
The Housing Minister wouldn't say whether her office called stakeholders last night, asking them to back Rachel Hunter's appointment.
Look, we had many conversations last night. I'm not going to get into the ins and out of that.
When the review or the funding, part of the government's new housing plan, will start is unclear. The Assistant Housing Minister unclear on what that 5-point plan is.
Working to end homelessness, building more homes quickly, more social housing. Then we also have, you've put me on the spot on purpose, but I do have all 5 of them. We have support for renters. I did go through them in the car this morning, so I am across them.
Then again, senior opposition members weren't sure on their own 5 key pillars either.
So it's crime, health, housing as our priority, ensuring people are housed, cost of living, and also the health system.
There's 4, there's 1 missing.
Election promises to remember. Sally Geit, 7 News.
Football Australia is investigating a possible data breach involving players' passports and contracts, as well as ticket buyers' personal details. In what's been dubbed a cyber-owned goal, the organisation leaked secret online keys, allowing public access to private data. Researchers believe every customer or fan of Australian soccer could be affected.
Facebook's billionaire CEO has been forced into an apology over tragic bullying cases as he faced a grilling in Washington. Mark Zuckerberg said sorry as social media giants were accused of having blood on their hands.
Few have more power than Mark Zuckerberg.
Yet today, the Meta boss met his match.
They're here, you're on national television. Would you like now to apologise to the victims who have been harmed by your product?
Confronted by parents with pictures of their dead children, the victims of online bullies or drug sales, social media grief distilled. Social media's best-known CEO cajoled into saying sorry.
No one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
Too little, too late. And he was made to do it by one of the senators.
I don't feel like he has emotion.
Some CEOs needed a subpoena to get them to a hearing even the politicians say is like an annual flogging.
Safety is one of the core priorities that defines TikTok under my leadership.
You have blood on your hands. You have a product. You have a product that's killing people.
For all the tension in today's hearing, Americans might wave it off as political theatre. Politicians have hounded big tech bosses here for years, but passed very few laws to curb them.
I'm so tired of this. It's been 28 years, since the internet? We haven't passed any of these bills.
In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
More than 3,000 emails have been released related to an infamous BBC interview with Princess Diana. They show journalist Martin Bashir blamed professional jealousy and racism for the scandal surrounding the way he secured the 1995 interview. In 2020, it was found the princess was deceived, tricked by fake bank statements. Queensland's hopes of a State of Origin hat-trick have been dealt a bombshell blow. Cameron Smith quitting as assistant coach and Billy Slater's right-hand man, with one of the architects of the Broncos' revival to replace him.
Slater, Smith, Thurston and Hannay, they're the supergroup that answered an Origin SOS and blew the Blues away.
The Billy Slater raid is off to the most perfect of beginnings.
But as with all good supergroups, there's been a split. Cameron Smith stepping down to spend more time with family.
I know he won't be lost to the game, Smithy, but someone will grab him and down the track when he feels comfortable, and hopefully it's for Queensland.
Smith's successor, Origin one-hit wonder Matt Ballin, who ironically spent almost his entire rep career stuck behind an immortal in waiting.
He was always in front of me as a player and always in front of me as a coach.
The Broncos' Minister of Defence was brought on part-time last series.
To play for them once was amazing. To be involved over the last couple of years has been fantastic, and then now to be fully entrenched in the series is just a great experience for me as a young coach.
Making for a smooth transition. But time will only tell what impact Smith's departure may have. The tactical nous of Queensland's most capped player was crucial in the Maroons' resurgence under Slater.
There's no pressure, is there? Smith's out, Ballin's in, and then, we're 2 in a row.
And favourites to make it 3. Mitch Crone, 7 News.
A concussion crackdown is set to change sport. Up next, how it will impact the top levels all the way to juniors. What parents need to know.
A young thief smash and grab on the Gold Coast.
House prices hit a new high. The southeast best performing regions.
And the southeast under siege by mosquitoes, where they're invading.
In 7 News, over 2 million used cars sold last year, 40,000 a week, and now, finally, the prices are dropping.
There is no better time to buy a used car.
The most popular used cars, the biggest discounts, and why the buyer now has more bargaining power. On 7 News, coming up soon.
Shoppers have been left horrified after watching a young thief hurl a rock into a glass cabinet at a busy Gold Coast shopping centre. He took off with 3 new iPhones in broad daylight, leaving staff with a mighty mess to clean up.
Brisbane's property prices have bucked the national trend, kicking off 2024 with another record high. Samantha Heathwood explains.
Brisbane's staggering home prices have reached another new peak, rising 0.17% in January. According to the latest PropTrack report, Brisbane's median home value is now $794,000, despite national prices remaining relatively flat. Brisbane has been one of the best performing markets since the pandemic, with prices rising more than 10% in the last 12 months and 58% since March 2020. Ipswich is the southeast's strongest region, rising 13% over the past 12 months, followed by the Logan-Bow Desert region and South Brisbane. However, regional Queensland was the only regional area to see a price decline this month, down 0.2%. Several factors have contributed to the slowdown, including interest rate hikes and worsening affordability.
Samantha Heathwood there. Major sporting codes are under pressure to adopt new concussion guidelines to help protect against brain damage. The changes would see players of all ages sidelined for at least 21 days after a head knock.
James Graham says winning at all costs came at a high price.
Now that'll be the end of Graham's afternoon. He's screaming out, I'm all right. He wants to get up.
You have the attitude of not wanting to let your teammates or your club down. What's really letting people down is not treating concussion seriously.
Welcoming a new push to change that.
There is probably somewhere between 100,000 and 200,000 sport-related concussions per year in Australia. We know one of the greatest risk factors for concussion is someone returning too early from a previous concussion.
The Australian Institute of Sport bringing in simple and clear guidelines for kids and community sport. The key recommendations include a minimum 21 days before returning to play after a concussion and at least 2 weeks without symptoms before doing any contact training, and for clubs and schools to have concussion officers.
Symptoms can be subtle, like tiredness, light and noise sensitivity.
Sporting greats raising awareness about the damage they've suffered, like South's legend Mario Fenech.
People are going to learn from what we're saying here today.
And we don't want other kids to get brain damage like you.
They want to see these new guidelines used right away, but they are voluntary. Around 30 sporting bodies have already agreed to them, but the nation's biggest sporting codes haven't yet. The NRL says it's analysing and will carefully consider the guidelines. The AFL says its concussion guideline review process is ongoing. The national bodies representing netball, cricket, soccer and rugby union also considering the advice.
Remember, if in doubt, sit them out.
Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Brisbane now has 2 direct routes into Asia. Today, passengers boarded the first Jetstar service from Brisbane to the South Korean capital, Seoul. The airline will fly the route 3 times a week. And tomorrow, the airline's first Brisbane to Osaka, Japan service takes off. It'll operate 4 times a week.
Stuck in a claw machine surrounded by toys, the out-of-the-box rescue by police at Capalaba. How they got him out, even though he was in no rush to leave. Don't miss that story coming up soon.
Also, the record-breaking Powerball up for grabs tonight. The last-minute rush for tickets. What are your chances of winning?
Exposed, Australia's helicopter graveyard in Townsville. The weapons Ukraine is begging for.
Exclusive. Help for flood victims after this week's dangerous deluge.
And why car buyers are back in the driver's seat.
The Sanford community has answered a call to arms for a family devastated by this week's flood. The Hoffmans have been overwhelmed by the offers to help rebuild their family home.
A call for help for the Hoffmans, and today it arrived.
That's an old pile of timber that can just go.
Yesterday, a family member put a post out about how much one family can endure.
A helping hand will be magnificent.
A Sanford family have been to hell and back. Today marks 6 months since Peter and Mark lost son Brandon. He died working alongside his dad.
Brandon was 25. He had a heart attack.
The family also lost most of Brandon's sentimental items in this week's deluge. Today they learned his car is a write-off too.
He didn't even have it for a year before he passed. It still smelled like him.
Kathy and Mark Pym run 2 home repair businesses. They've rallied the troops.
I think they're all a bit overwhelmed with the people that have come forward to help.
Close friends Tammy and Lee initially put the call up on social media, and they're the ones coordinating the assistance that's coming in.
Plaster sheeting donated today, but we need a plasterer.
a painter, a fencer, so they can be home and bring their dogs home.
So much work, but the family is staying put.
My son grew up here and he's not here anymore, so I need to keep the house.
Well, as you can see, just looking around, this is heartbreaking. So much work still needs to be done to get this back to any type of living conditions for the Hoffmans, but they are lifted in their spirits by the offers already pouring in, so they can soon return to their home.
They need to be home to be able to grieve.
But for now, it's time to get to work. Before Brandon's birthday in May, Steve Hart, 7 News.
Students at a truck driving school on the northern Gold Coast have leapt into action as a fire broke out this morning. They raced to remove dangerous chemicals and fought off embers from burning shipping pallets until fire crews arrived.
He said, "You just keep doing what you're doing on the garden hose there, mate. Stay out of the smoke." Well, thank you. This is really happening.
The cause of the blaze is being investigated.
New pictures have emerged of Australia's Taipan helicopters that will soon be scrapped, despite Ukraine begging to take them. The fleet, worth $900 million, is heading to an army landfill in Queensland.
Hidden from public view inside a RAF base hangar in Townsville, the decommissioned, mothballed Taipan helicopters that Ukraine has been begging for.
We can save lives. We can get them over there.
The fleet of 45 Taipans was grounded last September, Defence citing multiple safety incidents. Worth $20 million apiece, they're now being disassembled for eventual burial, despite pleas for a rethink.
Let's make it a win-win situation for everybody, for the government and for Ukraine.
The federal government says Ukraine's request came too late. They'd already started to strip them.
It will require considerable taxpayers' money and time to get those aircraft back into flying conditions.
7 News has also spoken to the aircraft maintenance engineer who was team leader for the Taipan fleet for the last 10 years. He says he'd even be prepared to volunteer his time to get the helicopters operational again for Ukraine. I would be prepared to donate my time however long is required, he said, adding, I do not believe the MRH-90 is unsafe. Ukraine flies Russian helicopters, some decades old, older than most pilots. Defence confirming today significant parts have already been sold off.
It's a missed opportunity that we have in terms of support from Australia to Ukraine, but I think we have to move forward.
But the Ukraine Federation saying if the government can change its position on Stage 3 tax cuts, it can on Taipans too. Chris Reason, 7 News.
An hour from now, one lucky punter just might be $200 million richer following tonight's record Powerball draw. 1 in 2 adults is said to have a ticket. The odds are astronomical, but there are plenty of Aussies who know that winning feeling.
If you haven't been fantasising about winning $200 million all week, for a moment, just imagine.
You have won that $100,000. So congratulations. How does it feel?
Are you serious? I'm just getting all emotional. You were our Division 1 winner and won $1 million. Oh, you're joking. You have to be joking. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. $1 million. $1 million? That's 100,000 each.
Small change for some.
You have won $10 million.
Oh my God, I'm in shock. I don't know what to say, I'm in shock. My heart is beating.
Do you think you'll go back to work after Smoko?
No, I'm walking out right now.
And some serious money.
$53,333,333.34, mate. Congratulations.
My grandson wanted a dog for Christmas, and I was trying to work out how I was going to afford it. He can have as many dogs as he likes now.
The odds against winning the jackpot are more than 1 in 134 million.
People don't realise when you look at that as a number, it's essentially zero.
Might see you tomorrow. Tom Saker, 7 News.
Good luck.
Yeah, I think I'd be speechless for about a week if I won. I wouldn't be able to say anything.
Used car prices are plummeting. Next, a big win for buyers. Which models have the best deals?
A group of tradies praised for making a brave citizen's arrest.
A SeaWorld cruise saved a dolphin calf in distress.
And the mission to free a toddler trapped in a Capalaba claw machine.
21-year-old man has been charged, accused of stabbing his mother with a paint scraper in Sydney. Witnesses who saw the attack chased the suspect down the street before performing a citizen's arrest. She was taken to hospital in a serious but stable condition. Australians bought a record number of new cars last year, more than 1 million, and twice as many used cars. Now, industry experts are predicting even more demand in 2024, with better buying conditions and wider choice.
Business has been booming at car yards across the country.
2023 was a phenomenal year for the automotive industry in Australia, particularly used cars.
Pandemic-induced backlog for new cars drove demand for second-hand. More than 2 million was sold over the course of the year.
Hitting its pinnacle in November, 204,000 vehicles transacted and sold.
Almost 17% of all sales were Toyotas. Mazda was the next most popular make. The crowd favourites were Utes, the Ford Ranger and the Toyota Hilux.
The consumer did get a win. We did see a reduction in pricing.
Prices are forecast to keep trending down, having already dropped almost 12% in the past 9 months. Much like the housing sector, vehicle prices are largely driven by supply and demand. With so many imports coming into the country this year, we're told it will be a buyer's market.
The used car and the new car market are interlinked. When the one is in good state of supply, the other one follows suit.
The consumer can expect to see drive-away deals, finance offers throughout the course of 2024, and again, which encourages a really strong used car market.
Wait times for new cars are expected to ease too, from years-long waits for the most popular Toyota models to a few months. And for most other makes,
the wait times are going back to around 20 to 30 days, the levels we saw before the pandemic.
Tom Hartley, 7 News.
The tax on alcohol is going up again, leading to concerns a $15 pint of beer could soon become the norm. A litre of alcohol now costs $101.85. In the most recent cost of living figures, alcohol went up 2.8%, the highest jump in any category. Distillers say the tax is rising so quickly, it's crippling hundreds of Australian businesses.
Now to video of SeaWorld crews rescuing a baby humpback dolphin in Tin Can Bay. It had become tangled in a crab pot line. The team waited until 2-year-old Sky came close to shore before they made their move. Sky was uninjured and able to head out to the open ocean with mum Ella.
Queensland's growing mozzie problem. Tonight we reveal where they're invading and the aerial assault that's underway targeting swarms. That story is just ahead on 7 News. But sport time now, and another Queensland problem has been solved, Alissa.
Yes, Cameron Smith's Maroons departure. Sharyn, hello everyone. A new Dream Team edition. Plus, the Cowboys go commando with a 2024 premiership in their sights. And pipe dreams become a reality for Aussies on the opening day of the World Tour. The Broncos are used to being stretched come Origin time. Now that'll extend to the coach's box. As you've heard, Matt Ballin's been promoted to Billy Slater's lieutenant, the second Brisbane assistant to earn a call-up.
Already, Kevy's right-hand man, Ballin, has the boss's blessing answering Billy's SOS.
Kevy thinks that we go away and learn from great coaches and great players, and we come back to the Broncos and bring those attributes back here and make the club better.
Same with John Cartwright, who'll be Michael Maguire's deputy at the Blues. Graduating from Queensland's under-19 coach, Ballin played just the one Origin, ironically replacing 42-gamer Smith in 2010.
He's been involved for quite a while, Matty, so he knows what it takes and he obviously knows the Queensland DNA.
And the all-in Queensland stint, another step in his quest to be an NRL head coach.
I'm looking forward to doing that one day, but I've got a lot of learning to do till that happens.
Whatever Cowboys Ballin inherits in Origin will have a sharper edge, a changing of the guard in Cowboys country.
I'm straight.
A boot camp at the Laverack Combat Centre helping build resilience and cohesion under pressure.
Yeah, good pace.
Cowboy Commandos and Cowboy Commanders leadership tips for new co-captain Ruben Cotter.
Left on Lachlan Wilson Drive, which is the first left.
And a former Maroons wingers keen to put himself back on the front line after being dropped last season.
I took accountability on. I didn't go back and kick stones and that. I really worked hard to get back into the team.
Mitch Crone, 7 News.
The Queenslander who blew open the Big Bash has credited another maroon-grown legend for his rise to international ranks. In the frame for his Australian debut in tomorrow's ODI against the Windies, Xavier Bartlett insists he wouldn't be there without Andy Bickle.
The next gen of our Quicks cartel, the Heat's X Factor and the wild thing Lance Morris, set to be unleashed at the G.
I just bowled with him in the nets and I felt like a little kiddie, but I was that quick. You know, likes of Cam Green, Sean Abbott, Aaron Hardy, just all those sort of blokes just trying to rub shoulders and learn off them. It's been a great experience.
But it's the experience of Bick the Quick who's moulded Bartlett into a white ball warrior in a World Cup year.
I obviously had a few layoffs with injuries and just sort of really trying to hone my skills with our bowling coach in Queensland, Andy Bickle, has been really good for me. Now I guess standing here you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel.
The Aussies face the Windies tomorrow without newly minted Allan Border medalist Mitch Marsh. Rested, his acceptance speech one for the ages.
Hopefully quite relatable to a lot of Australians. I've had a few people come up and ask for photos this morning, saying they're a bit fat too.
Thank yous to Ronnie and Paddy. I don't really know. I can't thank you enough for just believing in me. And, I'm a bit fat at times and I love a beer, but...
One of the things Ronnie said to me is that we can't win the World Cup without you. As I've just been left out of the team. So those little comments that build up over a period of time, I guess you start believing that.
Helping retain an Ashes, winning a World Cup, it's a far cry when he was the self-confessed most hated cricketer in the country.
And now I'm sort of hoping that me winning this is not like COVID and we'll look back in 3 years' time and go, that was a weird time. So,
All-rounder Ash Gardner fated with her second Belinda Clark Award.
I've probably won this award off my bowling this time around. Where probably last time it was more of an all-round package.
Sean Lawson, 7 News.
The Roar have their fourth coach since Christmas after Ben Khan took indefinite leave on medical grounds. Newly appointed assistant Ruben Zadkovic has been promoted starting Friday against Wellington. One of his Roar predecessors, Ange Postecoglou, has his Tottenham side back into the Premier League's top four after a stunning comeback against Brentford.
And it's 3. In a breathtaking 7-minute spell.
Second half, 25 minutes, 30 minutes were outstanding. We scored 3 great goals and probably should have had a couple more.
From 1-0 down, Spurs victors 3-2. Australia's best male surfers started the new season in spectacular fashion at the Pipe Pro in Hawaii. With the famed pipeline pumping, Callum Robson won his opening heat with some superb surfing, advancing along with Brazilian superstar Gabriel Medina.
Puts his head down, grabs the rail, slides out for a moment, and he gets spat out of a cannon.
Defending champ Jack Robinson won his heat as well, getting the better of 51-year-old legend Kelly Slater, who also progressed.
I was all fired up with our heat, like me and Kelly. Yeah, it was a good heat. Had all the butterflies before the heat, and I was trying to let them fly.
Slater's opponent in the round of 32, Straightie's Ethan Ewing, who survived this wipeout. American rookie Cade Matson's pipe debut was also marked by a heavy tumble. Yeah, that is very impressive indeed. I don't know how I would be doing that.
I was going to say painful.
Yeah, that too. Max, you probably had one of those.
Yeah, it's a bit too shallow.
Yeah. That's spot. Thank you.
Thanks, Alissa. Well, checking finance now, the ASX couldn't add to yesterday's record high, finishing 92 points lower to snap an 8-day winning streak. Investors hit the sell button on bank stocks after the US Federal Reserve warned a rate cut in March is unlikely. The biggest stocks locally all fell. And the Australian dollar is buying 65 US cents and $1.07 New Zealand. A 3-year-old Alexandra Hills boy has a story to tell for the rest of his life after being rescued from a claw machine full of toys.
The toddler climbed up through the prize chute and wasn't in a hurry to leave.
Cooking up mischief, 3-year-old Ethan Hopper has always had an appetite for adventure.
He was climbing before he was walking, and he's always kept us on our toes.
Everyone we spoke to says they're not surprised that it's something that he would do because he's so very adventurous.
But never in their wildest dreams did they think he'd end up here, trapped inside a Hello Kitty claw machine while his parents paid for groceries.
And I looked over at Ethan and he was just standing next to the machine. I looked back to talk to the lady and then I turned back and he's inside.
And that's where he stayed for the next hour, playing with the toys.
To start throwing toys down the chute, screaming out free toys.
I wanted to freak out, but I thought then he would freak out.
Until police arrived.
Glass. Perfect.
And worked out a plan to get Ethan free.
Ethan, go to that back corner. Ethan, cover your eyes. Hide. Come here, buddy. There you go.
Centre management say they've never had this happen at any of their other shopping centres, and they're in discussions with the claw machines operator so this never happens again. While police said Ethan could keep a toy, his parents thought it could encourage him.
I don't think he'll ever do it again.
A lesson learned about temptation and a tale to tell forever.
The next time you see a claw machine, what do you think he'll do?
I'm not doing that, anxious.
Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
Do it again. I still don't understand how he got in there.
He won't be allowed near a claw machine until he's adult size and can't fit.
The southeast mosquito invasion coming up, where they're on the attack. We have the map.
And it looks as though we're in for a beautiful run through to the weekend. Details next.
The soggy southeast has become a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Tonight we have the map, where they're on the attack, as councils launch an aerial assault.
If Queensland summers had an official mascot, these guys would be it. Mosquitoes launching a southeast invasion off the back of heavy rain and humidity.
They're just annoying little suckers.
In Beachmere, Michael Ray and his family are outnumbered. Their property and island in floodwaters, and mozzies are moving in.
Pick up a car and fly it away, yeah.
Council launching a counter-strike. A fleet of helicopters dumping mosquito kryptonite over Brisbane's north, targeting hotspots including the Tinchy-Tambor and Boondall wetlands, as well as around the airport and Port of Brisbane. Further north, Moreton Council has begun its own attack in areas like Launton, Deception Bay, Beachmere and Bribie.
Where our main pest mosquito breeds, the saltmarsh mosquito, they'll probably spray about 1,800 hectares of breeding sites today, and that will keep them under control until the next hatch event, which might be a couple of weeks' time.
Vigilance to prevent an outbreak of illness.
Ross River virus is definitely the big one.
To stay safe, we're being advised to empty pots of stagnant water around the yard.
One thing they can do is stay inside in the air conditioning. Other things you can do include wearing lighter coloured clothing, because mosquitoes are attracted to dark colours. Things like mosquito repellents and coils.
Fighting off a summer swarm. Jordan Bissell, 7 News.
Weather now, here's Paul Burt.
Thanks for that, Max. Hello, everybody. Coming to you from Burleigh Headland. Great surfing spot. Fantastic position here on the central parts of the Goldie. We'll take a look at today's temperatures, everyone. Beautiful conditions. Highs of around 29 coastal region. Got up to around 31 in the city and Ipswich. 32 for Greenbank. Down to about 21 to 23 overnight. To the charts now, you can see that high pressure system slowly making its way up to the north, meaning the southeast sector of Queensland for tomorrow looking absolutely amazing. That'll roll through for the next couple of days. We've got that monsoonal trough that's very active out in the Coral Sea up towards the Gulf of Carpentaria at the moment as well. Ex-tropical cyclone Kirrily just going to move through the western parts of Queensland over the coming days, bringing some more persistent rain. But as we take a look around the nation though, we're going to see partly cloudy conditions for Sydney, Canberra and Melbourne. Highs at 21 for the southern parts of the country, down to 16 overnight. Windy conditions for Hobart and fine conditions as we head further to the west though. A hot day for Perth and 39. Back to the tropics now. A few storms set for Weipa, of course, there, and showers and rain for Mount Isa, highs at 29 degrees. Some heavier showers around Townsville and also Cairns, 31 to 32. The patches of sunshine throughout as well. And Mackay, 25 to 32, partly cloudy. Then, under the influence of that high pressure ridge, we're going to see clear skies. Settling in around Rockhampton all the way through to Gladstone, Bundaberg, even Harvey Bay, Maryborough and Gympie. Tops of around 33 to 34 degrees. In the west, clear conditions for Longreach, 41. And for Roma, 21 to 36. On the range at Toowoomba, 17 to 32. Good evening up there to Ali and Saul. Back home now, clear skies and your working week with a high of 31 degrees coastal stretches, down to 21 overnight. Getting up to about 35, 36 degrees towards Ipswich, 19 degrees overnight as well. 35 for Canungra on the western parts of the Gold Coast on the water. Light winds early, afternoon nor'east sea breeze, looking stunning for those wanting to go boating tomorrow. Seas 1 metre, bit of swell punching through at the moment. 21 to 33 in the city tomorrow, looking really, really beautiful. And the weekend, have a look at that. Tops of 32 for Saturday, Sunday. A couple of showers settling in for next week, similar for Ipswich, getting up to 34 Saturday, Sunday, 22 overnight. Showers for Tuesday. And for the Gold Coast, similar conditions, highs of 31 through to Monday. And Sunshine Coast, little change there, looking absolutely stunning, guys. Great to see a reprieve from the rain and sunshine for the next few days.
All right, Bertie, thank you. Now, before we go, here's a look at a special report we have for you tomorrow night.
On 7 News, free, simple, foolproof.
The way for you to verify who that person is.
The surefire way to beat a new generation of scammers using technology to rip you off.
I felt absolutely sick.
What families should do right now on 7 News at 6.
And that's all from us this Thursday.
From all the team, have a good night.
Good night.